February 20th meeting of the Land Use Planning and Economic Development Committee. Committee members present: Tom Hoey, Alfredo Ballerin, Judy Doche, and myself, Kathy Fahey. Other members: Richard Conti, Kelly Kimbrough, and Mike O'Brien. We're here tonight to discuss Local Law B of 2020, as well as resolution, and I should read that, Local Law B of 2020, a local law enacting Chapter 153 of the new Code of the City of Albany, entitled Community Choice Aggregation, in relation to authorizing the creation of a community choice aggregation program and providing implementation thereof. We're also going to be talking about Resolution 92120R, a resolution adopting Community Choice Aggregation Program, Education and Outreach Plan, and Customer Opt-out Letter. Okay, so we met previously on this, and overall the local law looks good. We did have some changes that we've gone through, so now if everybody has a copy of the amended document, we'll go through, and I have I've been keeping track of the changes, so I can help go through them. So it might help to actually number your pages. I did that. It helped me as we go through this. All right, so I'll start. A lot of these changes were yours, Judy, so I'm going to start by going through them. You did catch that first one.
Yes.
The first change, this was Richard's. He suggested in the title where it says authorizing the creation of a community choice aggregation program, we're changing that to authorizing the establishment of a community choice aggregation program. The next change is in section, and that's right at the beginning, top of the.
So I'm sorry, I have already gotten,
Mixed up?
I have a version that doesn't say that.
Oh, the new version?
And I just labeled it as version.
Do you want to, we have another one if you'd like it, Jude.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. And Louise, do you want a copy of this?
Yeah, because I think I might do the same copy. Okay,
Yeah, mine says creation too.
and what I just
So is
said
this
said
one?
creation.
Yeah, they all say creation.
No, it says
No,
authorizing.
it says enacting.
You should have the one that says as amended.
Oh.
Yeah, it should say as amended in parentheses at the top.
Okay, I'm gonna take this anyway.
This one, I did not send this one by email.
Okay.
That's why,
Okay,
this
so
is
this
fresh
is
off the,
not-
that
okay,
is not, this is
okay.
fresh off the
Put this
press.
away.
Yes,
Okay, here.
This is the one as amended?
Here, you can
this
give
is
one.
fresh off the press.
Give other people there who are interested.
Excellent, thank you.
Yours says creation too, Richard, so.
It's
right.
the, I'm sorry, members,
change
this
hasn't been
is,
made.
this one was not sent out, this was fresh off the printer. I did not have a chance, I literally just
Okay, so that
finished.
change hasn't been made.
Yeah, so the one that is on
So
here,
that's the change that has to be made, the establishment.
this one right here, that's the
I have
update,
it.
yep.
But does that say established?
It doesn't.
Okay.
Okay.
I must have dreamt it, okay?
So Kathy, I just want to clarify, actually, there was a significant change in the way the whole title was reworded.
Okay.
That was just one piece that I was saying.
Go ahead.
Was not picked up in this. And I can go to, so
So you said
it's just,
establishment.
So it has to be a
technical
instead of creation.
stuff. It did have a local law creating a new chapter, creating chapter, instead of saying it's enacting chapter entitled.
I'm sorry, you wanted to say a local law creating chapter?
It's the provisions have been, the changes have been picked up. I don't know that we want to get involved in the technicalities of how we changed it and why.
Okay.
It's kind of a Richard and me kind of thing.
All right, well, I just want something that's going to work here, so what is the best thing to do?
Well, I was just noting that while we didn't make that change, he did make other changes to the title.
Okay.
But that's sufficient for people's purposes.
So right now it'll say a local law enacting Chapter 153 of the Code of City of Albany entitled Community Choice Aggregation in relation to authorizing the establishment of a community choice aggregation program and providing implementation thereof. So just the one change still needs to be made.
Okay.
All right, we're going to move down to section 1 there, and the change there was to add chapter 153 of part 2. Is that your understanding?
Well,
Or is there another?
Section 1 is actually a consolidation of about 8 sections. Previously, the template that we were provided did not provide for the enactment of an entire chapter. Instead, it added separate sections. I had suggested that what we're doing is we are adding an entire chapter to the code, so we should adopt it all in section 1 and not have these interim little things. And also, there is no title given to that chapter in the prior, in a much earlier draft, in the template. So this changes it so that we've eliminated all the individual sections of the bill, but it's still adopting all of the substantive sections of the underlying legislation, more or less as it was in the template. So, and it gives a title to it, but also JR had moved this out of chapter 376 up to chapter 153.
Okay, so what do we need to do to improve
All
this?
that has been taken care of. I'm just explaining
All
what has
right.
been changed.
All right, great. Let's move down to 153-1, the purpose. And in the very last sentence, we added City of Albany, CCA program in the City of Albany. I think it might have said municipality previously. All right, move to the next page, page 2. We have a lot of changes. The first one is in C, and where it says electric supply, we've omitted the term gas supply. Originally, it said electric supply or gas supply.
Oh, and you're eliminating gas.
We're eliminating gas, and we do that throughout this whole law.
Okay.
Because that was discussed. Just page 2, second page, and it's at the top. But this is a change that's we're gonna see this throughout the whole document.
So I don't
Because
see
we're-
a C.
I think it's at the bottom
Oh.
of page 1.
Yeah, on the newer one,
On the new one, it's at the bottom of page 1, apologies. But actually, the change, okay, so the change. Yes, it's at the bottom of page 1. The next change is F, if you go to F.
You took gas out of C.
I'm just taking gas out of C.
Oh, okay,
yes, gas has been eliminated entirely out of the document.
all right.
So let's go to F, and we've tried to clear up the language there. So now it should say, therefore, the City of Albany authorized the creation of a CCA program that will include an opt-out option. That's new language. Pursuant to rules of the New York State Public Service Commission in this community for the provision of electric supply service. Again, gas has been omitted there, as well as other high-priority energy-related value-added services as may be determined to meet the community's goals. And this is new language. Customers can opt out without penalty or fees. That's new language. All right, and now we can go down to the definitions, 153-4. In the middle of that paragraph, it says electric supply service. There's a typo there. Was that fixed? That was fixed. So again, we've omitted the term gas service. All right, so we can move to the next page and go down to C, CCA Administrator. And the very last thing, we're adding Common Council of the City of Albany. So we're changing the term.
Nope, he's changed that as a result of what Louise and I have commented on.
Okay, you want to, what is the change there?
So instead, it's, the last sentence reads, "The CCA administrator shall be retained by the municipality via a separate CCA administration agreement. Oops.
This is what it says.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we don't have that on our new.
Yes, it's on the new.
By
I have
and
new
shall
right
work,
here.
and shall work together with the Community Choice Aggregation Oversight
This is
Board.
the new one. It's not on there.
What do we change right here? The CC retained by the city. I changed municipality and put City of Albany.
Where's the change?
Right here. Where is it? This used to say municipality. It says,
Oh, okay, right. But she said there's an additional change,
yes, there is an additional change, but I
and that's not on there.
it's right here. It's with the Community Choice Aggregation Oversight Board.
Oh, okay, well, that's what, all right, that's what I was reading.
Where?
So it should say-
You had read Common Council.
I had?
Yeah.
All right.
The problem is we're switching back and forth between.
That,
them.
oh, I've got it on my old copy, that's right.
Right.
All right, so shall work together with the Community Choice Aggregation Oversight Board. All right, let's move down to D. Again, there's a electric supply. We took out the term gas again there. Does everyone see that? That's in the third sentence down. Third line down, I should say. Move down to E. Again, electricity service, we're omitting gas again. F, again, second line, electricity and energy related, we are omitting the term gas. Okay. Next page, H. Another area where we are, actually, I don't know where that is. Hold on.
We move
Oh,
utility
okay.
down to I, and then H is the new definition for Community Choice Aggregation Oversight.
Okay, so that's a change. We have a new definition for Community Choice Aggregation Oversight Board. And that's H. It says reference to the board that will oversee the implementation of the CCA program, the administrator, CCA agreements, among other duties as outlined by this local law. Okay, Louise, that's an area you had a question about as far as the implementation. Let's see.
But later in the document, when you actually get to the
Okay,
part.
so this is okay.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, everyone okay with that? Well, then we'll move to utility. Now it's I, it was H. And third line down, we're again omitting the term gas where it says electric supply.
Yeah, I still have it on my. Well, we should have been.
Under utility?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes, we
Well,
missed it.
it refers-
Did we miss this?
Well, this is because some utilities are, that's why it's combined, and that's where.
Okay, it says this term refers to traditional utility, to traditional electric and/or natural gas utilities. Do we need to omit
I don't
gas
think so.
utilities
I
there?
don't think so,
I
it's
think
fine.
it's just a description.
Okay, Louise?
That's fine.
All right, we're going to leave that in. And then the third line, we did take out the term gas. Section 153-5, first line, we again are omitting the term gas where it says electric supply.
Can I just mention that in H, we did add the term utility will refer to National Grid?
Yes, that is.
Is that there?
Yes, that was something Louise did in the last one, right there.
Oh, yes, right.
Just so there was no, Judy had made a comment about making sure we know they're not an ESCO and such, so I just want to put that in there.
Okay, everybody, that's H. Under I, utility, the last line is new. It says, for the purposes of this local law, the term utility will refer to National Grid. That's a change. All right, we're going to go to,
So for
right there. You gotta keep
153-5, we clarified that
These-
it's
all these new
without
sections.
penalty, that people can opt out without penalty and at no cost at any time, with the understanding that after enrollment in the program, the effective date of the opt-out will need to allow for reasonable administrative processing time
Judy,
frames.
where's this?
It's in,
Section 5, right there.
Right here?
it's
Without penalty.
starting on the fourth line down. After the comma, it says
go
without
back down.
penalty and at no cost at any
I'll lead
time.
you on this one.
So we're not
Is there a
gonna say
change
30
there?
days or something like that?
Opt-out shall be
Don't
applied
for reasonable
with a specific
reason.
period at no cost. Now it says without penalty at no cost, and here with the understanding that after enrollment in the program, the effective date of the opt-out will need to allow for reasonable administrative processing timeframes.
Okay, that's new language there then.
So we had talked,
153-5, and Judy, you want to?
yeah, so we had talked in the committee the last time about the fact that we really did want to make it clear to our residents while we're enacting this, that that is a right that they will have under our program.
Oh, yes, right.
And also, when I suggested that, Chris Spencer then indicated that he thought that that would be fine as long as we included something that would reflect the fact that sometimes there's a lag in people being able to have their opt-out take effect. So this is my suggestion for language. Tom Hoey just asked me, we're not going to put 30 days in. I think that we don't want to lock it in because it gets a little too complicated to describe, if you opt out before this particular date and after, this particular date of the month with regard to the whole processing thing. So a reasonable...
But there is a problem, and I just want to throw this out. If somebody does opt out, and say it takes 6 months to get them out, is there somebody they can appeal to? Do we have that written in here somewhere? Maybe we haven't got it.
We'll complain to Louise.
Yeah, what's the question?
So, I opt
There's a
out.
problem.
You opt out during the opt-out period, the 30 days. You don't want to participate at all.
No.
Oh, you're in the
It's there, and
program.
I wanted to
Oh, so
pull
you
out.
changed
decided
this.
to remain. And it
Because
takes
of the
a
formatting
we
that was
said
told, so yeah.
reasonable amount of time.
It's a little bit, I know it's a
6
lot
months
that
later,
happened
someone
within
might
the small
have-
time
Yeah.
frame.
Who can I go to?
Public Service Commission, they're the ones.
Okay.
But the reason there's a time lag is
No, I
because
understand.
you
You
understand.
have to
Yeah,
do the paperwork to
Right.
get stuff done, but
Yeah.
So then
sometimes
implementation
you
comes
get lost
later.
in source.
Yeah, I can answer.
Yeah, well, it's also
Yeah.
a trick that predatory ESCOs use to keep you, so.
At the, I'm sorry, council member, the also thing about, anything about complaints, they go to the, according to the local law, it goes to the CCA administrator and also the oversight board, that it would be discussed among the oversight board to discuss the customer service complaints too. So that's another thing. It's not an appeals process per se, but it's something that there's another way besides going to PSC to go to, something within the city for complaints.
I like the idea of putting some type of a date. Do you have a average of what's the time lag now? So we could look
Yeah.
more than 5 days or...
So it depends on their meter read date and when they call. So if they call like the day after their meter read date, then it might take another 2 meter read dates, right? If they call right before their meter read date, then they might, it's just all when Grid reads their meter.
How many meter read days would it take to get the
1 or 2
1 or 2 is nice in 60 days?
maximum, yeah.
So should we put something that says 60 days maximum? Because here's my concern. My concern is the prices that we locked in are higher than the prices National Grid goes down. Now I want to opt out. So for 2 months, I have to pay more than what I want to pay. Is someone going to pay the difference? Is the company going to pay the difference? Does somebody want to opt out? I'm
The
sure
same,
they're not.
well, the same thing happens if the price goes up and people want to opt in. There's the same delay. So they also can't jump into the savings if it spikes. So it happens in both directions, unfortunately.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone would be more upset
Right.
that they want
lose-
to opt
yeah,
out
Yeah.
into something to save money.
And God bless them if they have the time to monitor
Yes.
electricity rates like
Alfredo,
that.
no.
Most of us who wound up going with one of these ESCRs and we realized that we had a big deal. It took us months before we pulled the trigger and whatever. So here's the thing is, this is simply saying that you can opt out anytime without penalty, and we're just providing the clarification that it may take some time. If we want to then put something in with regard to the enforcement or something, then I think that goes into our RFP for the CSCO, and maybe something else.
Well-
But this is about just laying out the general parameters. It gives you a right. It doesn't, I'm nervous about us trying to establish in our legislation an absolute right to enforce getting out of it within 60 days or something like that. Because
It's all
What are we
renumbered then
then
after this, right?
Yeah.
I would hold
I'm sorry.
I would hold the company accountable. You know, the company that we will be contracting with, you know, if we do an RFP that says 60 days, and we put it in our legislation that says 60 days, then we should hold the company accountable to keep it to the 60 days. And if they don't keep it to the 60 days, then the company should be responsible
For paying the difference. Yeah, and you know, that might actually be in the Uniform Business Practices, which is a PSC, right, you know, regulates for all of the ESCOs. I have to check on it. That may already exist somewhere in the structure. So we may be, to your point, Judy, we're creating something that may either already exist and have another regulatory oversight. I'm not sure. I can check on that if you'd like. That might cover all ESCOs outside of CPAs and just generally. So I will check.
Let the record show that committee member Joyce Love is here, and also council member Ginny Farrell is here as well. Okay, so now we're going to move to a new section, 153-6. And this is the establishment of the Oversight Board, Community Choice Aggregation Oversight Board established. So this is all new language here. There's hereby created a City of Albany Community Choice Aggregation Oversight Board for the purposes hereinafter referred to as the CCA Oversight Board for the purposes of overseeing the CCA program and general implementation. And, you know, we've had kind of an ad hoc group up to this point, so this is formalizing this group, and they'll have some decision-making when the bids come in, and also responsibility to report back to the council. So we'll go through the scope of authority and duties of the Oversight Board. Joyce, do you have that?
No, I don't. What
Let me
page
get
are we on?
we're on,
I'm sorry.
so we're down towards the last section of the bottom. Right? Okay, so the CCA and Ginny, you have it? CCA Oversight Board shall A, review and approve the selection of the CCA administrator. So Louise, you had an issue with that because we've already...
I would suggest, so the mayor, you all passed, the common council passed a resolution that authorized the mayor. The mayor already selected, or that ad hoc committee that you were just talking about, Kathy, selected the CC administrator, so that was done. And the agreement between Mega and the city was signed. And then also the next one, the implementation plan, is already been drafted and approved by New York State for this aggregation by the Public Service Commission. So I would suggest removing those two because they've already been completed.
However,
In the
there
future.
could be changes to that.
In subsequent contract years, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. So as long as you're not trying, I guess my question is, are you feeling that that committee would need to go back and act to do these things, or would it just be going forward that the committee would do these things?
So
ahead.
when I was drafting the language for this, I was aware of the contract already being adopted.
Right.
What this is basically just formalizing it, going,
Okay.
you know, basically prospective if this
Okay.
is renewed.
Got it.
And then this right here, it's just, you know, going forward. I mean, everything's already been adopted, everything's like that, but basically it's a prospective and, you know, for if we decide to renew this again. So it's just all encompassing.
Perfect.
All
That's
right,
why it
so
also
we're-
amends the changes.
So we're gonna leave that in.
That's fine. That sounds good.
Everyone comfortable with that?
Yes.
I would
Okay.
like to suggest that we add to this, where it says at the end of this, any and all contracts and supplemental changes to any contracts, and I would like to say, and plans, as provided in this chapter.
Can you repeat it, too?
So after, in the last sentence under A of this, after any contracts, add and plans, as provided in this chapter.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because
So
it's not all
Could-
just contracts.
Judy,
So
could you
bas-
repeat that? I didn't catch it.
So Councilwoman Duche, you're saying that it should say any and all contracts, plans, and supplemental changes to any contracts and plans as provided in this chapter?
No.
No?
Any and all contracts and supplemental changes to any and all.
How about plans?
I thought you just
And
wanted to enter
contracts.
contracts in the last line.
Yeah, I was just looking to do it in the last,
Contracts and plans as provided in this chapter.
because you already have the approval of the education and outreach plan, which, by the way, education should not have a comma after it.
Oh, so, okay, so contracts and plans provided in this chapter would be the change. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, and B, receive timely notices of all proposed actions, plans, changes, and updates.
Relating to the CCA program.
C, together with the CCA administrator, create and follow a customer data protection plan. Louise, you want to speak to
Well, I
that?
think it's the same thing we were just talking about. We have one, but I suppose, those rules change all the time. So you're saying going forward, we create a new one, then this is relevant.
And
Okay.
there's another section that specifically talks about that plan I literally just pulled this from out there,
Okay,
so it's the same.
perfect. Great.
Okay. D, meet at minimum semi-annually to receive an update on the CCA from the CCA administrator and report back to the Common Council and the mayor.
I would prefer to see them meeting 4 times a year.
Why, Jude, do you think that they need to meet 4 times?
Well, at least for now, I think we're talking about there being an implementation. We're talking about launching a program right now. And the idea of they would meet once now and maybe once, 6 months from now, and not get any updates is not in keeping with what I'm seeing as the overall responsibilities. I would expect that, there's the issues with regard to the RFP for the ESCO, the selection of the ESCO, when the stuff comes back from the PSC, and once the ESCO is then you have the approval of the opt-out letter again. And I personally would like the council to be getting updated information, at least in the first year or two of launch, once every 3 months. Consider that right now we're getting updates, on staffing. We're supposed to be getting staffing reports every month for certain departments. And so here's a whole new program.
So, well, does it make sense maybe for the first year to meet 4 times a year and then thereafter?
I think we can come back and change this in the future if people, find that is unnecessary. The meetings
Okay.
can be brief. Louise, what's your experience?
Yeah, I actually appreciate a more frequent meeting. I think, we have contact with principals, we reach out to them when there's something, but I would rather have a reason to have an engaged audience and regular contact that was set up. We would welcome that.
All right, so we'll change that. Everyone else on board with that?
The other thing is, I think that with a new program, you want to know who's opting out and what information, people, who's opting in, what information is going out to people, what are people's, how can we tweak the program and improve the program? So for minimum the first 2 years, I would hope that.
So what's the language then, the change? To meet at a minimum of 4 times?
a year.
4 times a year, so quarterly. So quarterly.
Here we go.
At a minimum of quarterly?
Meet at a
Yeah,
minimum
like that.
quarterly.
I'm sorry, what?
Meet at a minimum
Yeah.
quarterly
Meet at a minimum quarterly.
to receive.
Okay. E, general oversight and public outreach of the CCA program and the CCA administrator.
Are we talking about perform general oversight of public outreach? And
Yep, that was the last thing, that was where, I'll add that in there.
Perform general oversight and, what was that?
General oversight of public outreach and the CCA program.
Okay.
And the CCA administrator.
All right, everyone
So the first
comfortable
one
with-
is changing and to of, and the second one is changing of to and.
Well, repeat that again, Councilwoman?
Just perform general oversight of public outreach.
Well, I put it general oversight as just general oversight, as like they're overseeing the program, period, and then public outreach of the CCA program. So I was being more all-encompassing.
Perform general oversight
Oh, it's two separate things.
of,
So he wants it,
of the program, and then we could do including but not limited to.
of the program and public outreach. Okay. So oversight would be not capitalized there?
Yeah, oh, no, yeah.
So everyone got that?
And
No, that would
we
be-
use general piece once we put perform.
Yep,
The board, okay, F, the board must submit a report 6 months after the initial implementation of the program and thereafter annually to the Common Council and Mayor.
If I can add one thing, I don't know if this matters or not, but we are required for all our CC programs to submit in March, just so you know. So that's like a time when the state does an annual review, whether that lines up or not. That's just their review for all CCAs in New York State is in March. So not that that matters, but there would be, if it didn't line up, there would be another review that you would just sort of get, I guess. Not that, this is just an FYI for you.
Okay.
okay.
To know that we're not just reporting to our municipalities, but also to the state.
Okay, and then 153-8, membership of the CCA Oversight Board. A, the membership of the CCA Oversight Board shall consist of 5 members comprised of 2 members of the Common Council selected by the President Pro Tem, the Chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee or his or her designee.
That's a type. I apologize.
I'm sorry, what
I
is
know.
this now?
The second
Chair
A.
of the,
The second A, right? Oh, the chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, the SAC committee?
what about it?
That's what it is. And then this right here, I made a mistake. You were your fingers. That was another A by mistake.
Oh, I see.
Yep, that was a mistake. I don't know why that's there.
That second A, capital A, is just misplaced.
All
Yep.
right,
It's
very
coming
good.
out.
So that comes
It's
out.
automatic when you did something. Automatic
It just,
insert.
it's horrible.
Okay, the chief planning official or his or her designee, and the mayoral appointee who is a resident of the City of Albany.
The appointee should not be capitalized.
Okay.
Any thoughts on that?
Good,
All right, so that's a total of 5, all right?
right. Always good to have an odd number.
B, the chairperson of this committee shall be chosen amongst the membership by a majority vote.
How come there's 2 A's?
It's a
mistake. We
formatting
just-
thing.
So cross out the second A.
Yeah.
Okay, now we move to 153-9 is now the provisions for implementing the CCA program. No changes there. Actually, move down to C.
No, the implementation plan, he's inserted on, in the first one, the City of Albany CCA
Yeah, the
Oversight
CCA
Board,
Oversight Board.
with support
Okay.
from the CCA administrator.
All right, I didn't see that. That would be under number 1, would be now say City of Albany CCA Oversight Board. What was it before?
It was just said the City of Albany
Okay,
with support from the CCA administrator.
all right, so we're adding Oversight Board there. Anything else that I'm... And then now we're going to move down to C, customers moving into or out of...
Actually,
I'm sorry,
it's
one more.
Number 3 is,
One more
yep, the
addition.
City of Albany CCA Oversight Board and the CCA administrator.
Okay, again, number 3, under 153-9, we're also adding City of Albany CCA Oversight Board. Anything else there? Now we're moving down to C, I think.
Nope, and then B again. There you go down to B, and it's the same thing. It's
B.
the CCA oversight.
Okay,
board.
another area, B, public outreach and education, we're adding CCA oversight board. Okay. Again, on number 2, we're adding CCA oversight board. Once the program is operating, City of Albany CCA oversight board. C, customers moving into or out of the community after CCA adoption. There's a language change there regarding the opt-out of the CCA program within a reasonable time after their utility account is established in accordance with contractual agreements between the CCA administrator and ESCOs providing service to the program. That's a little clearer language than we had before. Another change is the last sentence. Customers can opt out without penalty or fee. That's been added.
With understanding that after it's the.
Oh, can you read that then?
Yeah,
I don't-
customer, the last sentence amended to now, it says, customers can opt out without penalty or fee cost at any time with the understanding that after the enrollment in the program, the effective date of the opt-out will need to allow for reasonable administrative processing timeframes.
Okay.
And that's undefined.
Can we define that in the RFP? Are we putting together the RFP or who's putting together the RFP?
Yeah, I think that we said that we can do that. So it would be, the RFP would be put together by the oversight board in consultation with the CCA administrator.
Do we get a say on the RFP?
We have a draft,
I think Alfredo wants to be on this board, oversight board.
I hope
Okay, we
so.
just nominated him.
All right, I'm lost now. Public
Right,
outreach.
right, okay.
Where am I? Oh, okay.
Right here, it's still, actually, no, we're still going down because there's a lot of technical changes, because it's like the CCA administrator together with the CCA oversight board will create and follow.
That's a change.
It's like the first sentence.
Okay.
And then it says right here by the utility to the City of Albany CCA oversight board together with its CCA administrator.
So this is all new?
It's just this portion right here where it says CCA oversight board.
Oh,
So a lot of the places where just the City of Albany.
Gotcha.
it's or with-
Oversight board.
Yeah, it's always right there.
all right. Thank you.
Guarantee that our residents will pay above the market rate with national rate.
so that is in RFP.
And then the only thing I did was just make this a technical amendment where this was all in one sentence and it just was too much. And so I just put a little.
Right, where is this?
This is in section, nope, it's still in B. Right here. Customer data protection.
You broke it up?
Go to the next page over on the new one. Yeah, right here, right there.
Okay,
That's a new, just a breakup. Then more. It just was too long on the run.
okay.
I know. Long time. Editing.
I see.
I'm just wondering what's the
Okay, can we move on here? Under customer data protection in D, we're adding again CCA oversight board to that first sentence. So it's CCA administrator together with the oversight board, CCA oversight board. Third line down, we're adding a couple of phrases, provided by the utility to the City of Albany, and again, the CCA oversight board, together with its CCA administrator. We're adding oversight board there. Next page. There's been just a very technical change. We've broken up, that last sentence is separated out. So this plan will also ensure that CCA customer data, such as contact information, is not used for inappropriate purposes, such as solicitation of business unrelated to the CCA program, its goals and objectives. That's broken out. Okay. All right, then what I have is down to review and/or dissolution of the CCA program, or is there more?
Just technicals with the CCA administrator, just CCA oversight board was just added all over.
Okay, there are other areas where we're adding CCA oversight board in A and B
Of section 10.
of section 15310.
And this is where it says that they would submit customer service matters to the mayor and the common council from time to time.
Okay. All right, now I'm lost again.
We have a lot more
One
to
more
go.
thing.
We're still trying to do public comment?
Well, I don't know, we'll see.
Okay.
I mean, it's planned. We have to finish this.
Yep.
What's the next? Review and dissolution is what I have. but it's
Review and,
all-
yep, that's the next section.
But what's the number?
It is -12 now. It's 153-12.
Okay, 153-12. It's on review and dissolution of the CCA program. In B, we have new language, and that's the initial term of the ESCO contract will be a minimum of 12 months and a maximum of 36 months. The CCA administrator shall be responsible for recommending to the mayor and CCA oversight board the specific terms and conditions for the initial ESCO contract and any subsequent contracts based upon the proposals received and the best interests of the city's eligible customers and consistency with the goals of the program. Such recommendations shall be transmitted to the Common Council at the same time they are transmitted to the mayor's office and the CCA oversight board. The CCA oversight board shall have review and approval authority of the contract. And then we go down to liability. 153-14, liability. Again, second line, we're omitting the term gas. Again.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And that's it.
I move that we make a positive recommendation to report this out of committee with the changes that were just discussed.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Tom?
Yes, but I had a first question.
Sure. Discussion.
There was, when we took out the gas, what are the value-added products and services, Louise?
I'm sorry, what?
Value-added product and services.
Yeah, so that could be demand response, that could be energy efficiency, that could be raising electric vehicles, that's sort of evolving. That's the language in it, that's akin to leaving natural gas in, it's like, what are we doing in the next contract? So we're not doing anything in this contract, I mean, the only thing is, we're not counting solar for all the low-income solar programs. So it's a vague language to allow the program to evolve, but I think we could all change it a lot in what it sounds like.
Thank you.
I have one question as well. If we approve this, what else do we get? The RFP and the final contract, is that going to come to us as well? Or is that going to only go to, or is this it? We're done after this, and it only goes to that board?
Is we the common council as a whole?
We, the common council as a whole. So are we going to get a say in the final RFP, or a say in the final selectee, or a say in the final contract that comes in? Or is this, once we approve this, we're done, and then it all goes to that board?
I think that's a question for those two folks, but yeah.
From my drafting, a lot of it goes back to the oversight board with that authority. So it's kind of,
So the oversight board will have two common council members. We're asking for regular reports from them. And we'll have a mayor appointee, the chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, and Chris Spencer, essentially.
so essentially, while the program is in existence, the oversight board will have a lot of authority with the program. The local law does have that, the common council does have the authority to review it, and that if it no longer serves the purpose that they believe that as a whole doesn't, or no longer wants to go further with, there's procedure for the common council to remove this out, or repeal.
So that would be before, I guess I just want to make sure I get this clear. Before it goes into effect, before it gets signed off on, we would have an opportunity to review the final contact, like the issues that were brought up with the 60 days.
Well, there's a
You
very
know,
quick
stuff
turnaround
like
here,
that.
but can you talk about that, Louise?
Yeah, so, well, you're asking a couple questions. So one, I think, so there's a contract that will have all the terms and conditions
Thank you.
that I think it's gonna go to the advisory board, as I'm understanding this document, and they're gonna approve or not approve that contract with the terms, which include what you're talking about now, and price. So they're gonna either say, yes, we like this, or no, we don't, and if we like this, which product we're picking, right, which price we're picking. And then they would, I guess, inform the council of that decision. But it's a small window of time, because the pricing, you know how markets are, it's a commodity, the pricing changes. And so there's a very small period of time with which that decision can be made, which is the point, which is why this advisory board, and I think in my understanding, is getting created. So because the council would then otherwise have to all come together and meet, and that may or may not match up with the timing, where this smaller 5-person group with representation is a little more nimble and yet has a representation.
But this is also why I put in there that the council, the entire council will receive a copy of the recommendation for any ESCO at the same time that advisory board gets it and the mayor gets it. So that when you get that information, then it's, important for you to then raise any concerns that you might have. But Alfredo, I think that we know who one of the people who's going to be on the oversight board for the council is going to be.
You nominated yourself.
So you don't have to worry about anything.
But my larger concern is having the council give up an authority to a board on the final say. I would recommend, at least with this initial contract, that it should go to the, get approval for the board and then come to the council. I've seen in my short time here how some boards have more authority than the council on getting things pushed forward.
So have I.
So I wouldn't want to see that be the case with this. I would want something like this to have council support, because at the end of the day, it's going to need our backing if things, when things need to be tweaked and when things don't go as smoothly, we need to be able to say we had a say in it. We need to understand it well when we get questions about it. And I recommend we have a vote at least on the initial contract, so that it's all of us, not just one or two of us.
I'm not, I understand what you're saying. The concern is the time frame. Does anyone else have something?
I don't know whether this helps or not, but the original proposal was a 9-member board, and it changed to a 5-member board because of the concern of being able to get 9 people together to have this conversation and get on the same page. That was the conversation going back and forth.
Actually, the initial
Maybe it was more than that.
template legislation really referred to the city, and since the mayor has the ability to contract, that there really was no input.
But this is all new to
No
have
oversight, which is
The-
something we've now inserted into this legislation.
The original template was centered around local governments who have stronger mayor who's usually on the council portion, as opposed to like our
Town
setup.
boards.
So like
Town
town
boards,
boards.
Where the mayor is elected from the board.
Yeah, so essentially the town of Guilderland, they passed literally the template one. And I just saw that, and it's literally, they just go right forward with it. Of course, with the smaller town board, it's easier to call members in to make a vote, and that was one of the biggest concerns for a lot of people, getting in the decision making. As you know, council member, we only have basically 2 meetings a month.
I understand, but I also think we've been able to put things on the agenda the day up, or a few days before, our meetings. And if need be, we should have the authority to call a special meeting if it's time sensitive. I just think something this big should have a full council vote, because again, it's a major change, and it's going to affect majority of our residents, and every council member should have a say.
And what's the turnaround, Louise?
The turnaround is like a 48-hour kind of turnaround. But to your point, so what some municipalities will do is they will, the ones that are structured more like Guilderland, is they will call because we'll know a month in advance. We know when we put out the RFP, the date that we're going to have the pricing, right? And so what some municipalities will do is then they will call the special meeting. They'll plan a month in advance. The meeting is when we have the pricing, one of those 2 days. But I'm not advising that. I'm just saying that is what other municipalities do. You are very unique. You are unlike any of the other municipalities, including Schenectady and Troy. So I do not have advice.
I'm concerned that no one's here from Corp Counsel's office to weigh in on this right now. Oh, okay.
And I would see what's up.
Have you been following this? So what, if we were to do this initially and do what Louise is suggesting, we'd be able to schedule a special meeting. Where would the administration stand on
I
this?
don't know, that's a very specific question. I don't know where the administration would stand on council wanting a special meeting to review any proposals that we do receive from the RFP. The law department does have a meeting tomorrow with the mayor, and I can bring that to her attention and see how that would go.
So here's, as I think about how do you change this legislation, et cetera, and some of the issues around this is, then if you call a special meeting, you don't have a quorum, does the ESCO, does the contract go into effect? Anyway, if you call a quorum and you call a meeting and let's say you have 10 people show up and you don't have the 8 votes needed to approve that, does that then mean the whole program falls apart on that? So it can give potentially a lot of power to a couple people to essentially put the kibosh on the program. Whereas I like the idea of us being informed, timely, at the same time that the board and the mayor are being informed of what's happening, and then addressing and we have the opportunity then at that point to have that kind of discussion and raise any concerns that we have. And I would think that at that point, it would give the oversight board some pause. Now, we do not have not set up this board so that we are the majority, but we have 2 out of 5 votes on it. So I am concerned about how you put that in the process without inadvertently putting the kibosh on the program. And let's keep in mind, whatever the rates are, people have the ability to opt out anytime at no penalty. So people can make those kinds of decisions. And presumably, the oversight board is not going to enter into a contract that does not look advantageous to the residents. I did make sure we put in the program here that in the criteria that's in this legislation now, specific criteria that they need to make a determination that's in the best interest of the eligible customers and that is consistent with the objectives of the program. So that was not in the template. That is there now specifically because I had these kinds of concerns about on what criteria and do you approve something like this. So I would prefer to move forward with the legislation as is and work with the administration to make sure and work with the leadership here to make sure that maybe we schedule a meeting to actually have a discussion when we expect the RFPs to come in so that people can then vet any concerns they have without it necessarily being we have to approve it and then potentially we don't have a quorum or we don't have enough votes and we have 7 out of 9 votes present or something like that.
But if we don't, I'm sorry, if we don't have enough votes, to pass it as a council, wouldn't that say that the final contract that we see in front of us is more problematic than what we currently are being told it might be? I mean, that's my concern. We're being told to approve, to give all the oversight to a committee of 5 on something that's going to affect all of our residents, on something that we don't have a contract in front of us to look at what the structure is going to be. We don't have an RFP in front of us to look at what's the tax going to be. And we're giving up all our authority to a 5-person committee where we don't even have a majority on that committee. We have two seats. And I just find that, to me, I find that problematic because what I've seen is once you give up authority, you can never get it back.
Okay, we have 2 opinions here. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this issue?
I agree with Alfredo. I'm not on the committee though.
Shall we move the vote?
I thought we voted.
Yeah,
Well-
we did the vote.
I know, but we've got to back up a little bit
But you
here.
voted before any public comment.
Can we do the motions
There's no
again?
one signed up for public comment.
Oh. And
And this is
Motion.
what
Yeah,
Motion,
we
we
gotta
have,
get- we gotta
okay,
get
we have a motion on the table. Let's take a vote again.
I'm going to abstain
Okay.
because
Wait, who
I
made the
think we
motion?
should have.
Pardon me?
Who's making the motion on it?
Tom, was it you or Judy that made?
I made the motion.
She made the motion and I second
And
it.
oh,
Yeah, it's
okay,
already
Joyce
passed
seconded. All right.
It's already passed out of committee.
Okay.
It's passed out of committee.
So, okay, it's passed out.
Yeah, so we have to
Recommendation.
have a quick discussion about the resolution here. We're not ready to review this tonight. So it has to be passed by March 2nd as well, is my understanding.
So, yes, but we do not have the 10-day aging issue.
Correct.
with
So
that.
we can try to schedule another meeting.
You say no.
We don't have, with the resolution, we don't have the aging issue.
So we'll have to
It's the
schedule
local
another
law.
meeting. We gotta get going because we,
So,
and I know
so
this is-
JR is going to make these changes and put it on our desks tonight so that we start the aging process that's only 7 days, not 10 days excluding Sundays. Because
You weren't here
if we
when-
email it to people, we need to have done a resolution that authorizes us to do that in its 10 days excluding Sundays, or you got to mail hard copy. So these few changes need to be made and put on our desks tonight at some point during our meeting.
It can't wait till tomorrow? I think we can wait till
I
tomorrow.
read
You got one
I
hour?
read the
Come in
council
so we can
rules
get
and it
started.
said 7 days prior to the
Can you give us-
passage of
we can
it.
see-
So March 7th would be tomorrow, by end of business tomorrow.
Well, you're going to make, yes, I mean, you're going to move to amend this tonight,
Okay.
but you want, I mean, if you have the physical copy
Hey, old
on
man, how you feeling?
your desk tomorrow, I don't,
Good looking.
You're doing
Judy, push, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
And then it has to reflect this,
And so we'll
and to
get,
be emailed out
we
tomorrow.
will,
Yes.
to members of the committee, we will have to meet again next week sometime, so we'll be in touch with you to come up with a time and a date. Will we be able to have enough time to notice that and so on?
The, for the-
Meeting for the resolution. Michelle?
We haven't started.
We're going to have to schedule a meeting on the resolution for next week, so we'll have to have enough time to notice
But
that.
make sure it's not on the 26th, because I won't be here on the 26th. We go to, for the
Can you
BCA.
guys- can you
As long
guys
as
just
we
do
have
that
a
stuff
quorum.
offline?
For the
Yeah.
BCA.
I know you gotta get what you're done. I mean,
We have a meeting every night of the week.
yeah,
Every night this
Well, we'll
week?
have to find another
this
time.
upcoming week we do.
so you guys are.
All right,
you guys are done.
so we're going to, motion to adjourn the planning
So moved.
committee meeting.
Second.
All right, thank you, everyone. And I